Money line, I'ma run it every time. Give me mine, going up, need no decline. Money line, I'ma run it every time. Give me mine, going up, need no decline. Yeah. Why check cash roll, yeah, I need my ass. Why check cash roll, yeah, I need my money line. Why check cash roll, yeah, I need my money line. Why check cash roll, yeah, I need my money line. Watch out for those who surround you, need no funny kind. You can't see what's on my brain, I live inside my mind. Out of space and out of sight, you need me in my line. Need no fakes, don't need no phonies, no. Need no snakes, no only homies down for show. Go. Get a book and get the front and we load up and roll. I got kids, yeah, I got staff, I make a little need more. I sell records, you sell packs, not on my level, no. I'm a pop star, I'm a rock star, I'm a winner. Think I'm not hard, you smoke rock hard waste, man, why you dumb? I'm with airline, we on airlines like we on the run. I'm with Tay, girls run up on me, they done. Money line, I'ma run it every time. Give me mine, going up, need no decline. Money line, I'ma run it every time. Give me mine, going up, need no decline. Yeah. Why check cash roll, yeah, I need my ass. Why check cash roll, yeah, I need my money line. Why check cash roll, yeah, I need my money line. Why check cash roll, yeah, I need my.
I'm in sync with the earth. 10 toes deep, flower child from the turf. I never switch sides, like even when I die, I'ma ride for the squad. Let her ties in the hearse. I've been on the vibe, kinda hard to describe. I'm in between, I'm good and it's fine, but I'm tired of the grind. Then I come alive in the night to realize I'm in the middle of the time of my life. I'm never so packed for the stack, never lied on the rap. Got a bag from the way that I write it. Queen looking Tyson, do that ass survive, doing 80 to the house. Then I hit her to the sky, change haters on a tirade. Talking to the crib in the face, be still, let that hate stuff fade. We all want the same, we all want a meal in the safe. I wanna live like I'm trying to reach enlightenment. Trail spill from my lips, feel bent from the bib. Take a sip till I pass out. Try and get grit, but it don't make sense. Cause you can lose life on this fast route. Yeah, turn thoughts to a cash cow. I might flip that to the glass house. I don't need the accolades, I'm in love with the chase. I just wanna eat, save a spot at the table. Beats with the slap, pin myself on the map. Long with the wind, but we knowing that it's capped. 5-hour flights, couple nights at the flat. To be real, couldn't see me making moves while I'm at. I'm still on the grind, limit time when I chat. I'm burning down sage, keep the demons away. When I write it, give a piece of myself to the page. I don't do it for the praise, love, that's just how I'm made.
Truth in the glass in the mirror. Yeah. Do it at me, old man, tryna pass in the fear. You're the first one to talk, but the last one to hear. Eyes blurry, but I couldn't see that. Then he cleared down. Start to feel like I'm on one. Settle in, I be here for the long run. I'm a slave for the cash, got snakes in the grass, no brakes on the ad, but it's all fun. We done seen it all, heard it all. Heard enough, give me space before I murder y'all. 10 bad here, I'ma curve them all. 12 missed calls and I still made a curtain call. Here to light it up, lighten up. Hear him talking, they ain't right enough, tighten up. Everything that I came for, I left with. I don't bang sets, I just bang on the set list. Going past supper when I came for the breakfast. Put me in your prayers, I might put you on the guest list. Young, tell me reckless. Gold in my soul, got the same on my necklace.
Light it up, light it up. Ah, light it up, light it up. Well, well.
check cash your yeah, and I need my ass. Why check cash your yeah, and I need my money line. Why check cash your yeah, and I need my money line. Why check cash your yeah, and I need my money line. Watch out for those who surround you, need no funny kind. You can't see what's on my brain, I live inside my mind. Out of space and out of sight, you need me in my line. Need no fakes, don't need no phonies, no, no, no. Need no snakes, no only homies down for show. On go, go, go. Get a book and get the front and we load up and roll, roll, roll. I got kids, yeah, I got staff, I make a little need more, more, more. I sell records, you sell packs, not on my level, no, no, no. I'm a pop star, I'm a rock star, I'm a winner. Think I'm not hard, you smoke rock, hard waste, man, why you dumb? I'm with airline, we on airlines like we on the run. I'm with Tay, girls run up on me, they done. Money line, I'ma run it every time. Give me mine, going up, need no decline. Money line, I'ma run it every time. Give me mine, going up, need no decline. Yeah, 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 yeah. Why check cash your yeah, and I need my ass. Why check cash your yeah, and I need my money line. Why check cash your yeah, and I need my money line. Why check cash your yeah, and I need my. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Check, check, check. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Check, 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 check. Money line, I'ma run it every time. Give me mine, going up, need no decline. Money line, I'ma run it every time. Give me mine, going up, need no decline. Yeah, 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 yeah. Why check cash your yeah, and I need my ass. Why check cash your yeah, and I need my money line. Why check cash your yeah, and I need my money line. Why check cash your yeah, and I need my money line. Watch out for those who surround you, need no funny kind. You can't see what's on my brain, I live inside my mind. Out of space and out of sight, you need me in my line. Need no fakes, don't need no phonies, no, no, no. Need no snakes, no only homies down for show. On go, go, go. Get a book and get the front and we load up and roll, roll, roll. I got kids, yeah, I got staff, I make a little need more, more, more. I sell records, you sell packs, not on my level, no, no, no. I'm a pop star, I'm a rock star, I'm a winner. Think I'm not hard, you smoke rock, hard waste, man, why you dumb? I'm with airline, we on airlines like we on the run. I'm with Tay, girls run up on me, they done. Money line, I'ma run it every time. Give me mine, going up, need no decline. Money line, I'ma run it every time. Give me mine, going up, need no decline. Yeah, 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 yeah. Why check cash your yeah, and I need my ass. Why check cash your yeah, and I need my money line. Why check cash your yeah, and I need.
Slow. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm watching the rise, and I wouldn't say I'm shocked, cause I'm hardly surprised. This one's for the ride, this one's for who knew I'd make it, just needed some time. This one's for my wife, could've left 1,000 times just so by my side. This one's for the grind, I knew it would happen, just had the strength in my mind. To the videos, they thought I was a black guy. That's hard to get over. I'm foreigner in this world, but I'm fully devoted. I don't take it for granted that the door's been open. I knew I was different, I knew I was chosen. A breadwinner, but I'm soft-spoken. Authentic like a 5950 and there's no cap. Let's have a toast to that. Let's have a toast for the real ones. Let's have a toast for the real. Let's have a toast for the real ones. Let's have a toast for the real. Let's have a toast for the real ones. Have a toast for the real. Let's have a toast for the real ones. Have a toast for the
Hello, everyone. Welcome. I am SB, Security Boss, and this is Unsolicited, and this is the third episode of The Standard. Hey, y'all. Listen, it's so good to be here on the third episode of The Standard, and I am so glad that you're here. But what we're going to do right away is we're going to actually bring the co-host up, and it's Miss Cam. Hey,
Hi, Security Boss. How are you?
doing well. How are you?
I'm awesome. Happy Sunday.
I know it's a good one so far. It's very good, and I'm glad that you're here. But before we get started, before we announce the topic, we're gonna say hello to a couple of people that are in the chat, and welcome welcome them here. And also, guys, when you're coming into the live, make sure you're giving us a thumbs up. We would really appreciate it because this is gonna be a good one today, and we need for you all to pay attention, share the videos. And guess what? It's only gonna be like an hour and 15 minutes. So if you need to recall something, you can go back and pull it up. It's gonna be one of those type. So who do we have here today? Him versus her solutions. Hello, how are you? Thank you. This is awesome. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Judge Jay, how are you doing? Mr. Steele, Mrs. Steele, I hope you heard that intro. We gave you the whole song today. The whole entire song. Primal Studies. Hello, how are you? Miss C, how you doing? Big Bad Bull, I think I saw you also. It's good to see you guys. Thank you so much for being here. If I missed someone, which I know I did, because I didn't start at the top, listen, we're going to get started. We appreciate you all for being here. And listen, pay attention, because today, Darryl Long, how are you? Today, we are talking about submission. Y'all know that's that hot button. Everybody got a fallout situation. And we're talking about submission as a woman, submission as a wife, and submission as a mother. So we're covering all of that. Bobby M, how you doing? We're covering all of that. And ladies, I really want y'all to pay attention, because don't be scared of this. Don't be scared of submission. It doesn't take anything from you. It doesn't make you less of a woman. It actually makes men care for you more. I want y'all to embrace that. It's actually freeing. It's just a freeing situation to be submissive, because not only are we submissive to men in the world, we submit to a whole lot of other things too. And we'll talk about that. But I want to first talk with Cam and see what does she have to add, because submission was her task this week. And I want to know what she got to say about it. What you got to say, Cam?
Okay, so I did, prepare some things in writing. And so, feel free to stop me at any point. I'll just talk about some points about a woman, and then some points about a wife, and then a mother, but they're short. So feel free to stop me whenever.
Well, what I'm gonna do is, once you're speaking, if I see I hear a point that we need to elaborate on, I'm gonna write it down possibly and say, let's go back, let's dig into that a little deeper, because this is such a big subject. It's like it's like evil talk.
Yeah.
Submission, and everybody goes crazy. So Bella, how are you? We want it not to be evil talk. We want to have conversations about it. Let's just have the conversation about it, so women can feel more empowered to know what we're actually talking about, and not what they've actually talking points or things that they've seen. Maybe I'm gonna say maybe seen. I don't know if they've experienced it or not, but it's not about control. It's not about being weak, but we're gonna give them a different point of view, and then let them actually ask questions about it, pour over it, debate it in their own mind and what have you. So that's what I want the women to leave with, and the men also. So go ahead and get
Alrighty. So first of all, thank you for having me. But anyways, I will start with the definition from Google, right? So submission is the action or fact of accepting or yielding to a superior force or to the will or authority of another person, right? And so I started to learn about submission in 2019, right? And I'll just preface this by saying that I'm not super religious, but I was spending a lot of time reading the Bible. I focused on the women and what they meant to God and what God meant to them. And so I wanted to know what God wanted for me. So I looked to the woman in the Bible as an example. I learned that God wanted me to be obedient and to have faith. The Bible has representations of many different types of women, but I resonated with women like Ruth and Sarah. They both were longing for something that I was also longing for: children and marriage. I focus my devotionals a lot on patience and preparing to be a wife and mother. So that's just a snippet of what I wanted to touch on about like submitting as a woman, submitting to God.
So let me say this to you. You did that in 2019
Yes.
and you realize that you're doing it again today. And I had no idea that you did that in 2019. You said exactly what you said: a woman, you said a mother, a wife, and a mother.
Yeah. I was
those were my exact wishes for you, was to, wow. Did you realize that when I said that to you?
I mean, yeah, I did. And especially like going back and like reflecting and actually writing it down, it really all came full circle.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I didn't. I just thought you would be good to speak on that. I had no idea this was something that you actually, really studied. But that's awesome. So continue.
Alrighty. And so like as a wife, submitting to my husband. So submitting to God is like practice for submitting to my husband. Until I have a husband, I submit to God in my actions, the way I speak, and how I think. Ideally, I submit to God daily. When I have a husband, he's like my direct connection to God because I get to show my submission or obedience to someone who can receive it in the flesh. My husband isn't a replacement for God, but he is similar in the way that he has authority over me. So like I do with God, I'll submit to my husband in what I do, what I say, and how I think. And so it's important to note that submission is about faith, and faith is about trust. And so
I'm sorry. Let me ask you a question though because you said a couple of things that I want to touch on before you go. You're speaking very well. I love exactly what you're saying, but I want you to slow down because you're making some very important points that I think we need to hear. The first thing you said, obedience, faith, and you didn't say this part, but I got from that order. And you said, until I meet my husband, I am submissive to God. Now, to me, that says order. And we're here today and we're on the standard. And that's what we want. That's what we want to give. We want to give that standard because that's the direction that if someone like yourself wants to be married, wants to have children, want to be the wife, this is the standard. And this is the order. This is how I'm saying it, of how it should be. So if we can paint the picture a little more that way. In other words, you said, until I meet him, I'm going to have order. I'm just making it in plain language. What is the order of your obedience to the Father, God?
So my obedience to him, or my submission to God, it shows through what I do, yes, but more so like my faith in him and trusting him, and knowing that things are going to work out for my good or for the greater good. And so what that looks like in practicality, right, is like what I do on a daily basis, right? Like for example, I know that I'm out of alignment when I'm like so anxious about life and I just unsure of like what to do, how to move about things, like the decisions to make. But when I am in alignment, when I do trust God, then I'm like, okay, well, I don't have to be anxious because I know he got me.
Right. So so I just heard something, even when you said it. Now, see, I do this all the time, and it's very hard to explain. You said, I don't have to worry about anything because I know he got me. So I saw exactly the feeling of no pressure, no anxiety, freedom. I saw freedom in you. I don't know if you feel it, but anytime I get to that point of submission and I just relax on it, I feel it. And that's what we need to, that's the message we need to convey to women. I'm going to say women because it also needs to be done to men also, because there's a time when men need to submit. But that's the message of freedom without anxiety or without pressure that we need to convey to women, that they can actually have and they be okay. Because I think what's happening is they don't have that trust that the father or the man has their back. And that's what makes them anxious,
Yeah.
or that's what keeps them from submitting. But before we go there, there was one more important thing that you said that I'm going to ask you about. Do you think you grew into submission, or do you think you just decided to submit?
I think I grew into it. I think I really had to learn, and because like no one ever talked about this, or even showed it in my upbringing. I didn't know anything about it. I had to learn, and I just happened to learn through reading the Bible and things like that. And then my eyes were open to it, right? So then I can kind of like take in what the world was showing me about submission, actually see the women that God was putting in my life to actually show me what it looks like in the flesh in the present day, and not just the women in the Bible, obviously. And so I definitely had to learn and grow into it.
So when you say learn and grow, okay, I struggle with that myself, because I never saw me growing into it. It was almost for me something I just accepted.
Hmm.
And then it happened for me. Does that make sense? Like you just said, my eyes were open. I was open to it, and then my eyes were open. But I don't see me, of course, as you have it and you're growing in it, you become wiser. But I'm just trying to figure out, for me too, this is just a regular question, because we had this question on a panel the other day about, women will eventually get it. They'll grow into it. And I was like, I don't know whether on day 1 or day 20 you get it. I always think that the first day is the same.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I definitely understand what you're saying, and I can see that as well. Like, even if we're talking like, still with God and religion, like you have to accept God into your heart in order to really actually have a change. And there's a reason why we do that, right? There's a reason why we submit. The reason why I submit to God is for salvation, right? Just like there is a reason why. I mean, there is salvation in submitting in marriage as well. So I think that once you accept God into your heart, and then like know that you will receive salvation, like that is an incentive for submitting.
Right. Okay. I'm sorry. I just want to talk to you about it, because someone asked me that question. They said, well, don't you have to grow into it? And I for me said no, because I didn't feel like I did any growing.
Mhm.
I felt like I was open to it.
Mm-hmm.
It happened, and then I grew. I didn't feel like the other way around. So I don't know. I really don't know. This is talking to you. I have no clue. But go ahead. Let's continue.
Yeah. And then also, like, I think it also takes, like, I guess, a level of maturity, just like you mature in your faith. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I think I think that's why people think you should grow into it, because they feel like they have to have like some sort of like matureness about themselves in order to submit. But being mature is not about an age or anything like that. It's just accepting that some like just it's just I guess it is just doing it and just deciding.
Well, it'll come to us, because this person here says mature submission grows in wisdom in carrying out orders. You find multiple reasons to carry out versus kicking and screaming. Exactly. I mean, I agree with the part of the wisdom, but it just almost seems like I'm with Cam on the eye-opening part. It just starts to make sense. That moment you say, okay, it's not like, I don't know. Go ahead, Cam. I'm not gonna stop you. It's just a question. We'll find some answers. That's what we're here for, to find answers. So continue on. I think you were right at the part where you say trust. You were going through trust.
Yeah, I actually already completed that part. The last thing I was just gonna say, which I already said, was there's a reason why I submit to God for salvation, and there is salvation in submitting in my marriage as well. So that was the last part of that. So I'll move on to being a mother. So being a mother is to me. I was thinking about submitting to raising children full time, like being a full time mother. I think that when we have kids, like I think women, it's thought of like we are full time mothers even if we work. But we have to be honest. Like some women are just not full time mothers. But anyways, so in order for me to be the mother I want to be, I had to forgive my own mother. It's just a fact that I will not be the perfect mother, and will my children forgive me? So parents do the best that they can with what they know. I spent a lot of time trying to learn things that I want to teach my children. I think submission as a mother is more about accepting that you're raising a person who will be an asset to the world, not just your family or your household. Acceptance that a child is their own person, and my job is to nurture them in the best way I can, nurture them physically, mentally, and spiritually.
Dearly beloved.
That's good. So the very important thing that you picked out of that, and I think we need to slow down in that area again, would be the one we need to know as parents that we are raising little people that are going to grow up and be productive in this world. That's the most important thing, because I think sometimes as parents we don't see our kids as people. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We don't see them as people. We see them as our children or our possession, and we think, or we have a crazy idea that they're going to do exactly what we say, and that they're not going to be affected by this crazy big world. And that requires a lot of submission, because
Mm-hmm.
you have to submit, because one big part of submission is I can't do anything about this.
Right.
You know, this is not, I can't do anything. I'm gonna have to give it over to a higher power. And
Mm-hmm.
which I know mothers struggle with that. I know they do. They got to, because we want to control every aspect of everything that happens, especially with our kids.
Yeah.
So that is a big deal. Now that is something I know you have to grow into. That form
Yeah.
of submission you have to grow into, because you have to let go. And I hear so many women, you don't know when to let go. We don't know when it's a good time. We don't know when it's a good plan. That could go on for days. That could get bad. That could get really bad if we don't learn that we must submit as mothers, especially when it comes to letting go.
Mm-hmm.
Especially. All right. So what was the last one?
Oh, that.
Did you do wife?
Oh, yeah, I did that just previously. Submitting to that's what I was saying. Like submitting to God is like a practice for submitting to my husband.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Mhm.
Okay, so let's go back there again, because this is where the hot button one comes in. The girlfriend or the fiance versus the husband, not versus the husband, before the wife, before you get married. That's a real big one. So I always say, as a single woman ready to become a wife, I had to change a lot of things about my thought process and what I was doing, how I dressed, my mindset, everything. What would you say to that? Because I want to know how you went from, well, you know what? Well, yeah, I want to know how you went from being, how are you preparing yourself to be a wife, to be submissive?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question, because for some women there is like some sort of like, I guess, door that opens them into wifehood. Like their doors is closed and they're just girlfriend and fiance. Then when the doors open, now they're the wife and they could do other things. Like for me, I just like I think that it's only fair for a man to consider me for marriage if I show them what kind of wife I would be, right? And so I don't hold back in proving that I can be the wife that I need to be for my man, right? So, I mean, it could be, I mean, if we're just speaking submission, I just like submission is in so many different things, because it's not so tangible. It's really just it's just in your being, so it's in like everything that you do. It's not being passive or anything like that. It's just submitting to the fact that I'm serving someone who I believe is higher than me, right? Um, and so I just work on that every day. And it really helps when you have a man that, like, knows what he wants and can tell you and can correct you and things like that. So I prepare by working on the things that I know I need to work on. Like listening, like being a better listener, right? And listening to my man so I can respond to him in the way I need to respond. Working on supporting, being a good supporter, working on my like things like cooking skills, thinking about what kind of wife and mother I want to be. I want to be able to be that type of wife and mother that knows how to knit. I know how to knit, or I know I want to have my own garden. So I just think about what I need to do to start getting those skills to have a garden. Like making like bread, or I learned how to make milk, or like just doing like those homemade things that I feel like are intangible. Like you don't just you know, obviously you can go to the store and buy bread or milk, but to know that you can, you know, have something homemade, something made with love at home, you know, that I, I just like the idea that my kids or my husband can say like, yeah, my wife or my mother made bread. I don't know. Or made these socks for me.
You want to be that virtuous traditional woman that finds the resources and you make it
Yeah.
happen. And that's absolutely, that's perfect. I mean, you should want to be that way because, you know, nothing's promised to us. You might have to have a garden.
Mm-hmm.
You may have to make your milk coming up. So, I mean, we have a shortage of this stuff. So all that could be true. And it's a good, it's very good to be knowledgeable at what needs to happen to take care of your family and your kids. I mean, that's a smart thing to do. Very smart. So the part I wanted to, and then too, let's go back to this a little bit. The submission, the reason why submission, why do you think what is the reason that submission is for women is such a negative thing? I want to stay there for a while because I'll go ahead. You answer that question and I'll piggyback off of you.
Because it leaves them like almost powerless. And they feel like if I submit and I let go of the power that I get to have when I'm alone, you know, and I get to do whatever I want to do, and don't have to answer to anybody, even people who are like religious, right? And they, you know, might submit to God. God is not literally in your face telling you, don't do this and don't do that, or I don't like this, I don't like that. But a man in the flesh can tell you that. And I just don't think that women are okay with somebody acting almost like their father in a way. Yeah, so I just don't think women like to be told what to do or to change, or, you know, like I was listening to a Lapeef panel earlier, and a guy asked this woman, if your husband told you to stop wearing makeup, would you do it? And she said no. She said she would still wear the makeup because she wants to. And so it's like little things like that. Like women are not willing to sacrifice the little power that they think they have.
I'm glad you said it like that. The little power they think you have, but it's so much power in being free.
Right.
You know, just like you just said a moment ago, it's power in having knowledge and ways of doing things. That is very powerful. But we submit to so many things, women and men, throughout a course of a day. We see a red light. Most of us stop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The police officer, most of us slow down. You know, we submit all day, every day. But when it comes to the person that we supposedly love and trust, we don't. Now, I would say that's probably because we didn't pick well. To get round out, just get to the nit of it, because the way it should be is that I should be in a position that I submit or surrender my will, the way I want to do something, to the man that I married, because he's going to take responsibility for that, and me too. And I should be good with that because God has already promised me that order within my marriage. I got you. Now, that's the part I think that women don't understand. He got you. What's the worst thing can happen to you if God got you?
Right.
What's the absolute worst? But instead, we fight with what is it that I want? I want to wear the makeup. My husband that loves me and is married to me has already married me. He said, you don't need it, but I want to do it anyway. So what am I wanting to do? Who am I trying to please at this point?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what is it all about? Did we have a conversation? Was he saying you're doing too much? Was he saying it's breaking out your skin? Was he saying you don't need it? I mean, do we really need to have the conversation? Or am I just going to put down my foot and say, no, I'm wearing it anyway? Do you really believe that she would have done that? I really don't think so. I think that was just maybe a saving face situation. See, women have egos and maybe a little bit of pride, because if my husband told me not to wear any makeup, I'd be like, let's go. Good. Whatever. I ain't knowing it anyway. You know, can I get some lip gloss though? Just for my lips. You know, I like the way it feels. But you understand what I'm saying? Women, it is exactly what you're saying. They think that they're submitting and giving away all their power, but it's power. It's more power and knowledge and knowing how to do things versus being responsible for everything that's being done. That's why we marry men. And that's why we have this positioning of God the Father, Jesus, your husband, then you. You tell children what to do. Now, it's just the same as when the children start telling you what to do. You know how out of order a mother feels when her child comes in and tells her no? That would be the same as a wife telling a husband no.
Right.
So we have to check ourselves. So in other words, what you've said is it's much deeper than just the word of submission. It's a lack of order.
Dearly beloved,
Miss Doberman, I'm saying this is a miss, but I don't know if it is. Doberman says many lack women intentionally choose the wrong men so that they can justify not submitting. Okay, then when they call them out on it, then they blame their upbringing and hold on for a minute. Their upbringing and play the chicken and egg game. I don't know what the chicken and egg game is, but what we're trying to do now is let women know that it's okay. Submission doesn't make you powerless. It does not make you weak. There's nothing that can happen to you. I mean, it could be you making a wrong decision. What happens when you make the wrong decision? What happens then?
Right.
What do you fall out weak and you need to be energized? I have no idea why women don't want to submit, but I'm telling you, ladies, it's okay. You submit to everything. Someone said the other day, you submit when you go to work to your boss. So all the regulations on the job, but why not your husband? Why do we fight the men that we love and trust?
I think they think it's like prison.
Prison?
I think that they think that submitting in a marriage is like you not be able to like be who you really are, quote unquote, right? And they're thinking that it's like having shackles on, or they don't feel the freedom that you should feel when you're submitting to like the right man. So I think it is important to actually choose right. Like we're not telling you to submit to somebody who's like abusive or anything like that, but for whatever reason you chose a man that you chose, and you should actually stick with that person and then do your duty, right? It's like submission shouldn't be a choice. It really should be something that like you're supposed to do. But
if you came into marriage genuinely, it should be something that comes pretty much a natural evolution to what happens, because you have the husband, he's over you and he makes the final decision in the household. Now you have him who's supposed to be submitting to Christ. Now that could be an issue, but the order never said that your husband has to be perfect.
Right. Yeah.
And that would be the problem, is that again, now we're talking about a marriage, which is a Christian concept.
Mm-hmm.
Those are promises that were made to the church, by Jesus. So maybe that could be an issue. Maybe they don't have a real belief system. And all that is something that needs to be dealt with prior to being married, I think. Mm-hmm. But women, if you within your marriage, I don't know I can't say this for sure, but I don't know what kind of man that you would say you lose all who you are. Because for me, I felt like it just made me a better person. It gave me more order. I function in order. I function with discipline, and I do it better that way. With me just being loosey goosey, I do this tomorrow, I do this. I don't do well with that. Mm-hmm. I have to have order. Actually, my husband is worse than I am. I have to have order. I have to. Okay, in the morning, I'm gonna get up and do this, and do. I have to have some kind of order to what I'm doing. And if that feels like control because maybe my husband set that order, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure why you would be. It has to be just a trust issue. It would have to be trust, and that would go to the man that you chose. So, ladies, you got to make sure that if marriage is what you want, you have to make sure that your husband is the man that you can submit to. Right. Because you're going to be doing a lot of fighting, because when it comes time to make a decision, two people can't make a final decision. I mean, my husband always converses with me on what we need to do, how we do, but I want him to be responsible. I don't.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I really do. I want to okay. Because if it's not good, it's on him. And he's got to be the one that goes back into that room and whatever he got to do to get some communication going with him and the father so they can get it all straightened out. Because somebody still has to take care of the family.
Dearly beloved.
And it shouldn't be the women. It should be the women taking care of the family, but we shouldn't be burdened down with the things of the world, like the bills and making these big decisions on how our family should function. I should take care of the children Then he should be delivering messages to me on what we should be doing, and he should be getting his messages from the father. So, I don't know why they want to skip that part.
Yeah, I agree. And then like, so but back to when you asked me if I had to like grow into it or just accept it. I'm reminded that it's not just like the Bible that I learned from. It's like other books and things like that. And so there is tons of ways that you can just kind of like get your mind around like the idea of submitting and like really know what it is. And then so you're more comfortable with it. Because I think that since we don't really know, or we think it's one thing and not something else, that we just feel like it's something negative, especially when we've heard all these like rhetorics around submitting, or we heard these negative things about women who like, got divorced and, whatever the case may be. So I think it's just like unlearning old ways to relearn something better.
That could be the case. Learning something new, relearning something. But submission is just not, it's just so freeing to me. I can't help but say that. But let me go over this super chat. Freezy, thank you so much for your $10 super chat. Just cause. Thank you. But it's just so freeing. And I don't know how to convey this freedom that you have in it. But it just takes the responsibility off the woman and let it stay with the man, and the man who makes the decision. I am so good with that. Now I can understand that if a woman is a single woman and she's having to raise her family by herself, she has to do that. And that may alter who she is. And that goes back to a comment that you made a moment ago. You said that women sometimes often think being submissive changes who they are. It actually allows them to be who they are.
Right.
It allows them to be exactly who we are. It makes us better versions of ourselves. So we can then be those true helpmates. Those true helpmates that can have those resources, figure out how to make the bread if we don't have the cash or whatever, figure things out, make a way. The woman you manage the household. Right. You make sure it functions no matter what. A woman is very resourceful. She should be. She should know how to do things that men don't know how to do around a house. I'm not talking about fixing something, but I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how we can let women know, especially those women that are within marriage and wanting to be wives, know that it is very freeing to be a wife, and you're functioning actually in your femininity and exactly who you are if you allow it to happen. Now, how it looks, it doesn't mean that you're weak. It doesn't mean that you're yes, baby, and all of that. It just means that you and your husband are conversing and you're trusting him to do the right thing. Now, if after you have a discussion about something or about a situation, then he may actually take your suggestion and then to play. Then what? Who was submissive then? It was him at that point. He said, what my wife, what she said makes more sense. I'm going to try it. So again, and then a man does also needs to be submissive at times, because he needs to be submissive in the fact that, or I should say more humble when he doesn't know something. When he doesn't know, I know a lot of times a big thing with submission is the way, men handling everything. In my household, it's not that way. My husband has come to the point where he's delegated things to me that he knows that, what, she's going to be better at this for me. So I'm going to allow her to do it. And
right. So go ahead. I just want to okay. So I have a hard time thinking that a man is submitting to me, even if he takes my advice, right? Because submitting to me really just goes with who has the authority, and he's always going to have the authority. I mean, even if I give him good advice, he has to choose to take it, and allow me to do certain things, right?
Well, it won't really be submitting. It'll probably be more like he's humbling. He's humble. Mm-hmm. He's humble enough to realize that, oh, I need this. This is better. This is a better idea. Yeah. I think that, and it's a submission under Christ. We all have to do that. Mm-hmm. And 1 second. Sir Hale, thank you so much for your $99.99 super chat. The Standard is much needed show. Love it here. Thank you so much. Thank you for that. And Cam, you are exactly right. But we're going to drop the link in the chat because I want to get some other ideas on how we can convey to young ladies and women that are thinking about being married. I have this crazy concept of submission. How can we get them to understand submission is basically freeing yourself, and it makes you more powerful in the role of a woman, a feminine woman, than being resistant, because we don't look good being resistant. We don't look good burdening ourselves with all the things that men do.
Yeah. And but you are completely right when we talk about like the trust thing, because even when I look back on how I was in other relationships versus how I am with Jonathan now, and like I can tell I really trust him. Like I can tell like I really submit to him, because I know that like I've never felt like I can just follow somebody with my eyes closed and not have to think about like if this person is going to make the right choice or if they're going to follow through, and even when those negative thoughts might creep in, he's able to just like remind me and like how he is, that I can trust him, so
that's very important. So that's what you're saying. Tradition versus modern says men submitting is submitting to God, not the woman. We agree with you totally. I think people mix that context up a lot. No, if we said it that way, we were not thinking, we said it incorrectly. We were saying that he accepted her idea, or when they were making a decision, he's accepted her idea. And I would think it would be best called humbled. He humbled himself to hear what his wife was saying, to actually put that into play. So if we said it incorrectly, thank you for that. But yeah, trust is a huge issue, but I don't think we understand when we don't trust. Because why do you wait till you get all the way married to decide you don't trust?
Right. How's that happen? I don't know.
So that does, you get how that doesn't make sense? It's like we don't got married now I can't submit to him, or or is it that we just been looking in the wrong places, not getting to what is important, and what is important is submission.
Exactly. And a big thing is like the second bank account, or like the woman thinking that she needs to have like a bank account of her own to like have her own money and things like that. And I admit, like I used to be, because I have a friend, right, who really like was a like a model of what submission was, what femininity was. And I met her last year or so, and she was talking about this, like not having, like her only having one bank account with her fiance. And I was so confused. I'm like, what? That is crazy. But now I went back and I apologized, and I was like, yo, you were absolutely right. I definitely see what you're saying. Like it's a lack of trust when you think that you need to have your own money. And so now I'm the one who's advocating for women, like if you have to work, go home and give your man your paycheck.
Listen, you are talking to the choir right here, because I've been an advocate of putting all your money in one pot for 28 years now. 20. I say it all the time because in the beginning, my husband and I didn't have a lot of money, and we were bouncing checks left and right, trying to get it right, because he had his and I had mine. Now we didn't care if we gave each other the money, but does that make sense? So we went to this pastor one time in his counseling. He said, "Why don't you just put your money on one pot?" We was like, "Huh?" Like it was like like what? Like it was a big deal. Like it was just something we had never heard of before. So since then, all the money goes in one account. Of course, we have like a business account or whatever, but all the money goes in one part, and you got double the money, sometimes triple the money. Why even? I was like, damn, we were so dumb. It just didn't happen. We just couldn't see it. It was right here, and we just couldn't see it. So I don't get putting your money in several pots too. I know people say all these different reasons. I mean, stuff like, well, what if I want to surprise him? I get my credit card and I go surprise him. They always come up with these little things, but and I always like, what's the worst thing that can happen? You putting all your money in one pot with your husband. I mean, we're talking about, like if it happens on payday, okay, you lose one big check. You got another one coming by that next time you'll be done made other arrangements. So what's the worst thing that can happen?
Exactly.
What?
They're preparing for the worst. They're preparing to have a divorce, and then they're like, oh, well, at least I have money saved up.
See, I never do that. I have never planned for a divorce. Since that little money thing all in one pot, I have never thought about leaving it's for life for me. It's for life. and that's all I plan for, because if I got enough energy to plan to leave, I should have just enough energy to put into my husband to figure it out why I'm leaving. So that's how I see it.
Right.
Doman says, thank you, Doman, for the $5 super chat. It says Black men do not ask for 50% of what women ask for, or 10% of what Arabs ask. For Black men, submission means cooperation, literally just that. I agree. But the true submission is submitting our will. It's actually putting the person before you. And that is consideration, y'all. That's what we have to do. We're two people becoming one. You can't have two heads, can you? No. It's two people becoming one flesh. I'm talking about marriage. I'm talking about real marriage, though, y'all. I'm not talking about these unions. I'm not talking about things we call a marriage that we know that wasn't a marriage when we went in. I'm talking about a real marriage. It's two people becoming one. Big Bad Bull said, can we ask Kim an honest question? We're going to see the question first. JD has some controversial views. Does she align with all his views, or does she just submit blindly on faith? I guess.
I mean, it really goes along with what you just said, though. Like, when you're married, you have your one flesh, you have one mind. So I'm going to align myself with him, right? And so, I mean, it depends on what views you're talking about. I mean, but I mostly agree with the things that he says, because I personally think he's, the smartest person. Well, he is the smartest person I've ever met. I think he's morally aligned. I mean, if he's saying something, he probably has reasons to back it up. I mean, I don't know.
Guess what else? If you align with him, and if you all get married and he makes these decisions, who's responsible for it?
He is.
All right. Big Bad Boy, did you just hear that?
Dearly beloved.
He is. So you can't go back. Well, Cam, no, she didn't let. Right. She aligned. He made a mistake, or it worked out, or what have you. And then they both have to work it out. It has to be worked out. It's not like she can, we can't blame her for it, especially if she's in alignment with him. And that's her husband. We can't do that. So I would think that would be the proper thing to do. And Big Bad Boy, see, that's what we have to do. She may not agree. See, that's the thing with submission. You're submitting your will. She doesn't have to agree with everything he does to align with him. I mean, I acknowledge a whole bunch of stuff that goes on in this world, but I don't do it. I acknowledge the fact it goes on, but it doesn't mean that she has to be in agreement with everything. But she does need to align with him. If she's planning on marrying him, we got to fall in line. We got to fall in place and make you guys responsible for everything.
That's right. Whether I agree or not, I mean, how much does that really matter? I mean, anyways.
It doesn't, because it's he's going to make the decision. But again, you're not going. Let me tell y'all something right now. Men and women do not agree on everything. We do not. Yeah. That's the problem. That has been. If we all agreed on everything, and you had someone, you were dating someone, or beginning to, in the process of being married to someone, and y'all all agreed on everything. Oh my God, I can't even imagine how that would be. Not having.
It would be really boring, and he'd be dating himself.
His best version of himself, right? That's how it would look, because you agree with everything. No, that couldn't be. So that's the purpose of becoming one flesh, because we know, and he knew that we weren't going to agree. So that, I guess that's the actual test. That's the submission. She's foregoing her will. I forgo my will to what my husband is saying. But we've been married so long, he's gotten to the point where he asks. He'd be like, "Babe, what you think about this?" And I'd be like, "It sounds good to me. What you think?" Then I might, "You remember but this?" And he'd be like, "Yeah, I remember now." So it's recalling and just holding each other accountable for things that may be done. You live and you learn. Now that part you do grow in. You get better at that. You get better at making decisions, because I did want to ask you that question. What happens? But I answered it. And it probably hadn't happened before. But again, if you get down to the end of it and you totally don't agree, and he's on one side and you on the other, what do you do? But I just kind of answered it.
I defer to him.
Yeah. Do you walk off mad though?
No, because he's probably right. I mean, he probably have there's probably okay, even if I think that my decision is right, or even if I am right down the line, I just feel like, like it's important for me to just let him do what he thinks is best, you know, and not impede on that. Like I really think that part of submitting is let a man be a man, and not, you know, trying to like force my way of being on him. You know, he has to do things his own way.
Well, I can tell you what that does. That's what you call true submission. And what it does is it actually allows a man to be a man. But if it is something that an area he needs to grow in, excuse me, or an area he needs to humble himself in, he'll get there much quicker. Because the more he has to fight, the more he gonna stand his ground, you know.
Yeah.
But he continues to make a mistake and you allow him to do it, then he'll be like, oh, I need to do something different. It allows him to be that, to humble himself and say, okay, look, she did mention this, so now let me delegate this to her, or let me show her something. You know, she showed me this already. I need to let it go. So that's what it allows to happen. It allows him to mature much quicker.
There you go.
There you go. SB, I agree. If you want to call yourself a man, you must accept the outcomes of the decision as you own your responsibility. Absolutely. And when Cam has disagreements, we have the convo, no matter how hard. You got to have it. You're going to be forced to have it. And I listen, that one pot thing, that money in one pot, it's like we couldn't get it. It was crazy. It was like, and he just said it. And it was like an eye opener. It was like music and everything. Yeah. Just could not see it. Start putting the money in one pot. Money, I said, like double, then triple. No more bounce checks. I don't care what he buy. I mean, because eventually, you know, I don't know if people understand this, but within marriage, you're blessed. I don't know if you understand that. Blessings start coming from the left, start coming from the right. It's just everywhere. You're blessed. And this is the alternative to fornicating and living together is what I'm saying. Because initially, my husband and I lived together for a short period of time, but we were sick doing that. So this is the alternative to that, getting married. We felt like we were definitely blessed. The answers started to come. Money was coming. Things were freely coming and things were working out. So I'm just saying to you, an easy way to do these. You can do things and figure out stuff on your own. You will, most of you. But I'm just telling you, an easy way to get to where you want to go is to be submissive and to be married and submissive. Right. Actually, but we have Miss Lioness has given us a $10 super chat. Is SB and Cam, just showing my support and thanks for your wisdom. Thank you so much. I want to meet you one day because you just always giving some good comments and stuff. But that is so true. Those arguments in the beginning, they get to be unreal, but you have to have those conversations. And you know, today me and Mr. Boss were talking, and he said today, it wasn't an argument, it's just us trying to figure out something. He said, I bet it's right here in front of us and we just can't see it. And I just know it is, but neither one of us can see it right now. So it's like, dang. So we're going to step away, right? And then we'll come back later on, and then it'd be like so logical. It's like right there, and we just can't even figure it out. But yeah, again, I wish you guys the best. Definitely. And it seems like you all are going in the right direction with it, but we just really need to continue to promote ladies having submission, and note that it's not controlling. It's not allowing a man to control you. It's just putting him in his proper space and being in alignment. I call it order. Women tend to operate better with order. And I don't know if they don't see it that way, but that is exactly why we have, it's not only for women, but that's why we have stop signs, red lights, cautions. This all is about order, guys. We cannot function in this world being out of order or lawless. If we do, you see what happens. Work. So, but let me see what Mel has to say. Mel.
How you doing?
Hi. Good, Mel. How are you?
I'm fine, man. Yeah. I didn't know you and JB was married. Wow.
We're not married.
I thought y'all said
that. We're not married yet.
Oh, okay, engaged. Okay, congratulations.
We're not engaged yet. What? We're the step before that.
Oh man, JB, if you in there, you better put a ring on that. That ring made it official.
Hey, man,
beloved. Man, JB, man, yeah, definitely. I definitely want to ask because I want to share from a woman's point of view. I already know. I want to ask from a woman's point of view so it can spread out to the guys. Where can guys find women like you? Steps that they need to do to find women like you and everything. Because it's like when I try to tell it or they hear from another man, and we always go through back and forth. I don't have that problem finding women like you. I live in the city of New York. very liberal. Most of our women are masculine, but I can still find them. Submissive, women, feminine women like like yourself in New York City. I could find it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I think a lot of men could find it. I think what I want to hear from a woman's point of view. Anyone, all you want y'all three can answer. You know, what do a man needs to do for himself to find women like y'all and everything, no matter where they live at, or if they have to move away where they live at and stuff like that.
Do you want to go first, Security Boss, or do you want me to go?
Well, listen, Mel, I I always say it's an example. You have to be that example. Women, all my life, I've always heard women say that they only want a man to love the Lord. That's what they say. I don't know if that's in presentation, in order, but I would always attract myself to some man that has order. Whether it's a military guy, order is who I am. So if that's what you're looking for, a woman that is willing to submit and is wanting to be married, wanting to be a wife, that sounds like a woman to me that has some amount of order in her life, whether she calls it that or not. So you would have to be that person that demonstrates that. You would have to be that demonstration. You would have to give her that example. And what that means, that means you don't do a whole lot of things. You don't participate in I can't tell you how to live, Mel, but I'm just telling you, I wouldn't. A man and I don't know nothing about you, Mel, so you don't even think I'm talking about you exactly.
No, I know. I mean, I already know. I just want to just say it for the guys that's listening.
If I saw a man participate in all types of different activities, he would not be the man for me. I can go over several activities, but I'm not. But you can kind of understand what I'm saying. A woman is only going to go for the man that she can want to be with, and for me, if you're saying a woman like me, it's going to require a man that has order. We're going to have a lot of the same beliefs. A lot of the same beliefs. It's not that you can't have fun, but it's going to be a lot of things we don't do. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. You ain't going to catch me. And I'm not killing anybody, but nowadays it's a thing about going to a strip club with your girlfriend. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to, it's not going to happen. I don't even think I would date a man that goes to a strip club. So you're going to have a lot of, you're going to have to be the example for the woman you want. You can't be all the way to your left and think you're going to have this good girl. Because if you are, you're going to do nothing but turn her out. Because who you are, you have to align with what you want. So you got to be the example. So I hope I answered that because I don't want to offend anybody about what they do, because people are at different points of their lives, and sometimes you could be just not ready for what I'm talking about, because you might be going to a club this year, next year you might not be. I met my husband in a club 28 years ago, but it wasn't those type clubs, and clubbing was totally different than what y'all do now. But either way, I'm just saying. I hope I answered your question. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah,
that's perfect, man. Perfect.
That's something similar to what I was thinking. Okay, me and Jonathan met online on YouTube, and so I can't say you're gonna meet other women on YouTube and things like that, but I think that since we both knew what we wanted, we were able to kind of put that out there and have our eyes open to that, and really just I think we attracted each other, and we're able to find each other in this, crazy way and things like that. And plus, you really just have to know what you want. And I'm sure once your mind is open to knowing what you want, you're able to choose the woman. And I'm sure when you choose her, if you're a good guy, she can choose you back. Hopefully. I mean, we know what happened with Michael B. and Lori. I'm just kidding. But, I ideally, the woman that you choose to marry will choose you.
Was JB an example for you though?
Well, you said, was he an example?
Yeah. You know what I mean by example? He set an example for the kind of woman you are.
Oh yeah. I mean, he makes me if you're saying that does he mold me into the woman that I'm becoming, or
I'm sure that you're a woman and you're an attractive woman, you do certain things, but it's certain guys you wouldn't look at for whatever reason. But JB is an example of a guy that you would.
Oh yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to tell Mel. Mel has to set that example. He wants a woman like you. So I don't know anything about Mel. I've never seen Mel's face before or seen him do nothing but come up here, and he's fine here with us. But I'm telling Mel he has to set that example for the woman like Kim or the woman like SB or Miss Gretchen. He has to be the example of that woman.
Oh, I know that. I already been know
I
that.
was
I just wanted to say it. I just wanted to say it to bring up for the other guys that's listening, because you know how we got other guys that over like they over complain and nitpick so much. And I actually said this, technically said maybe a little different than how you said it, SB, but same thing. You got to set the example as a man with your attentions. Like I said, you about to use Michael B. Jordan as an example. I mean, his relationship failed the way it is because he didn't set his intentions out in the open. If he knew he wanted to marry and then date to be married and everything, Laurel Harvey was the bad choice. Period.
Well, hold on for a minute. Jonathan says, Cam is forever indebted to me for all the free game I've given her. She's gonna be paying off the debt for a very long time. He said, "You capping." But listen, though, Mel, I would say in that example, I would say that Lori, I don't know nothing about her, right? So I'm just going out on a limb. But I would say Miss Harvey went for him because of who he was. He is the example, and she was just doing something. That wasn't the man she really wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was in the casual. She just wanted to date casually. But he was dating for seriousness. It was like, I feel like that should have been well known when they first met. I mean, the first 2 months when they first met. This is one thing I learned. Have you ever heard of book author, dating coach Alan Roger Curry? He teaches the concept of mode 1, and it's not just about being straight direct in the first 10 minutes. If you want sex from a woman, it's also do with relationship. Committed. Because he told the story about his brother. His brother was mode 1 with his now present wife. Like he was telling her straight direct. I'm looking to date to be married and stuff like that. And that's how I am. Like if I'm ready to be dating to be married, now I'll tell her in the first 15 minutes while meeting her, because I don't want to waste either one of us time. If you just dating just for casually and I'm dating to be serious to settle down, we don't need to waste each other's time.
That's a good point. But that seems a little bit off a little bit to me, because when we're talking about setting these examples, it seems like to me, Mel, that only the women that should be approaching you are the women that feel that you're that's where you are. You're not a game player. You get what I'm saying?
No. Like, I mean, I don't see it as, if they approaching me or I'm approaching them. Either way, I'm putting out my approach, what I'm dating for, with a purpose. And I'm focused on myself first. And I'm presenting it to the females that I'm coming across. And there's something a lot of guys don't really do. Even when it comes to casual sex with women, they always lie and manipulate. I don't do none of that. I'll be straight direct with my attention, what I want. So even if I want to look for a serious relationship, I'll let her know I'm dating to, look for that one. I'm dating to settle down and stuff like that. That's something a lot of women don't hear from a lot of dudes. They straight attentions, when they out dating so much. I think that's what one of the biggest problems come on with back and forth is straight communication and stuff. A lot of time being wasted, money being wasted. It's like I don't do that. Like I'm straight direct with my intentions of what I want for in the relationship. So you know what I'm saying? So I want to know what type of woman she is right then and there. And you can't find out at least most of what she is in the first 10 to 15 minutes.
Find out that quick. Wow.
So yeah, you know what? Because I think there's a lot of things guys misconcern that they think they're not looking for the same thing we are, or I know I'm using the sex thing as an example, but technically there's females that just want casual sex as much as we do. But I think the world and media, society, even men think that they don't want that. They think they perceive this image like this good girl, whatever, or they're not freaky as we are, but they probably want it too just as much as we do. And just like that women that want to be serious in marriage, so it's like when I want to look for a type of woman, I know where to go get them, and I will be shoot my shot, and I tell them straight what my intentions are. If she's willing to see me out that way, or still we agree to each other, then let's see where this goes.
All right. Sounds good, Mel. Listen, Mel, thank you so much for your support, but we're going to go over here to Miss Gretchen.
I'm going to drop down, watch from the background, y'all.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Mel.
Take care, ladies.
All right, bye-bye. Miss Gretchen.
Hi, Gretchen.
Gretchen?
Hi, how you doing?
Doing good. I am.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey.
Hey. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
We're
And
doing well.
first of all, it's nice to meet you in person,
You too.
virtually.
Been trying for weeks. Got a delay.
2 weeks actually.
Oh wow. So go ahead. Let us know what you think about
Yeah.
submission.
Submission. To me, when I think of submission, I think of surrendering your identity to God first. Because right now I'm single. When you're submitting to God, everything else falls into place. It's you're surrendering your will, you're surrendering your ways, your way of thinking, your way of living things. That's how I view it, and that's how I live of it. Not the world sees it, but not how God sees it. That's just how it is.
Great. Now have you said you're single right now?
Huh?
Did you say you are single right
I'm
now?
sorry. I can't. Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but you
Yeah, I
are
can see you.
frozen.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
I said so you're
Yeah, I'm single, but
okay.
single but taken.
Oh,
If you say that.
all right. Congratulations on that. So hopefully that'll change soon, right?
Oh, hopefully.
Mhm.
We're meeting this coming Thursday.
You're meeting for the first time?
I met him well, first time, yeah. I met him during this year. It's been 6 months since we met during pandemic when the pandemic hit, all that stuff. I was concentrating on going to school. I'm a substitute teacher by job, and I'm actually an artist by night.
Oh,
Oh,
And he works at a public transportation, and he has a side job as a photographer. He's a
wow.
professional photographer.
And you're gonna meet him for the first time?
He saw me for the first time. Actually, my first encounter with him is when I was minding my own business, trying to catch a bus. I was at the transit center, and he stopped me. He got off his bus and stopped me, and told me how pretty I looked in my outfit. I don't even pay attention to it. I wasn't even paying attention to it. I was just being creative, and all these, yeah, and all this. I'm just being creative. That's all. And he said, "You remind me of somebody or something that came from a magazine, like a Gucci magazine." I was like, "What?" Now, see, I never pay attention to any fashion magazines and all that stuff. I just being myself as usual. And that's how he called me. And we've
Wow.
been talking ever since. And we've been talking ever since.
All right, Gretchen. Listen, where you going on your first date?
Actually, he's taking me to a seafood restaurant.
All right. Now you be careful. You got all this information, right?
Yes, I want to get more information about it because
Okay.
I know what I can do, but I'm trying to get more information about who he is. First of all, he's a divorcee. He has 5 children. Two of them are
huh?
well, three of them are grown, and the two of them are teenage.
And Gretchen, how old are you?
That's no problem for me. It's
I'm sorry. I couldn't hear you. How
26,
you 20? How old? 26? Ah, Gretchen.
41, 41,
I think he's 41.
41.
She said 26.
Oh, Gretchen, this thing is happening again.
No. I'm 41.
Oh, you're
He's
40.
50.
You
Oh,
41.
you look too young to be 41, but
I
okay.
can't see you right now, but I'm gonna have to take your word for it.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, Gretchen. You trying to be a cougar?
No, he's 50.
No. I'm really 41, and he's 56. Five.
Oh,
Oh, 56. All right. We got it. We got it now.
listen, Gretchen. We can't see you right now, of course, but
I know my Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it's not working because
I know my Wi-Fi is active again. I know.
but I want
I
to ask
know.
one question before I let you go because we're gonna end the show. But I want to ask one question. What took you so long? Why 6 months? Why did you wait 6 months to go on a date?
No captivity with Freezy joined.
Gretchen?
Um,
Go ahead and bring Freezy up real quick. There we go. All right, Freezy. What is going on?
oh, I don't know. Well,
Okay, well, listen, we have been here. We did our time, and it's been a wonderful show. I hope we got the message out to these people that young ladies, it's really important that while in relationship, becoming wives, that you are submissive. Then it's empowering. It's not anything less. It leads to a very productive marriage relationship, and you can be yourself. Listen, y'all, I say it all the time. It's good over here. And it's not that me and my husband don't have issues that have never fussed or whatever. I'm not gonna lie about that. That happens, but you even get beyond that. But we do have to remain in our the original order that we're supposed to be in marriage, and that's what I am wanting everyone to get to. Because women, we do operate out of our feminine energy and order and everything when we have to do everything ourselves. And when we can't submit, it's the same thing. It doesn't help us. It actually hurts us. Because a man is the one who built this country, right? They like to say it, right? They built it. So let them have it. Just go shopping and take care of the kids. So Cam, anything you want to say before we leave here today?
I really agree with you. It really is freeing. Just like how I, use when I'm out of alignment with God, I feel really anxious. But when I'm in alignment with Him, I don't feel that anymore. And that's the freedom that submitting does for you. And so find somebody you trust, learn the ways to pick a man, and just trust that it's gonna work out and go with it.
Yeah, and before you marry him, tell him before you marry, make sure you can put your money in one pot. At least put your money in one pot.
Yeah.
Number two, trust him so you can submit to him. That should be like the two easiest, hardest things to do prior to marriage. But if you ain't got that kind of confidence, don't do it.
Yeah. Right.
Now we getting ready to go, Freezy. I'm sorry. We got to talk to you at another time. I've taken Cam's afternoon and we're going to let it go for now. But guess what, guys? Thank you for being here. And we got some other things going on. Let me run them by. We got one more, actually more than one, but we got the next show of The Standard next Sunday at 6 p.m. It will be Jedi Mike. And I'm not going to tell you what he's talking about. Y'all just got to be present. But I appreciate y'all so much for being here. And also tomorrow, I am with Black Men Unfiltered at 7:30 Eastern on Unsolicited. Y'all got to come and check that out. We got a good show planned. And listen, thank you so much for being here. Oh, one more thing. I Choose You is back.
Ooh.
Our Wisdom is the new bachelor for the second half of the first season of I Choose You. And y'all got to go check him out. JR Wisdom is a content creator, has an excellent platform, does a lot of those recapping of videos and reaction videos, I should say. And he's over there now doing it, I'm sure. But go check him out. But JR Wisdom is the next bachelor on the I Choose You, which is second half of the first season coming soon. But tomorrow, check me out tomorrow. Unsolicited, Me and Black Man, 7:30 Eastern. Cam, yeah, tell us about, before we go, tell us about listen, I heard you with the bread. Tell us about the school.
Oh, yes. I will be dropping some videos on my channel in fall. So if you all want to subscribe to me, the channel is called Cam's School for Modern Girls. And I'll just be talking about girlhood. I think that, nowadays, like, there's just a lot of attacks on girlhood, and kind of like girls just don't know how to be girls anymore. And just reminding us that we're all, most of us are, still, well, I'm targeting women who are 18 to like 22, like college age. So they're still going through that girlhood process. And I'm still, even going through that as well, when I'm just, going through journeys and doing, like, changing different things by myself and always growing. And so just we're always going through this process of, honoring our girlhood. And so it's just focusing on that, my journey, and then helping others with theirs.
Okay, that sounds good. You said I can call in and get some ideas on how to make bread, right?
Yeah, like different things that, like, I'll be doing, cooking, so yes, making bread, learn how to make milk. when I start my garden, I'll be, doing that as well. So
Lord Jesus. Tomorrow is a call-in show. I would love for you to be there. It's me and Black Man Unfiltered. You can definitely call in. We'll even have a panel tomorrow. But I'm gonna tune in because I want to make some bread too. But you know what? When I first got married, I didn't make any bread, but I used to bake. I used to always want to see a cake under the cake pan. I had a
Dearly beloved
glass cake pan. That was just part of me being like growing up. Silly thing, but I used to bake a cake like every week. And I'm gonna tell you what cake I used to bake. It's a red velvet cake recipe on the side of the flour. Did a little flour bag. Have you ever seen that? I used to bake that cake almost every week just so I could have it underneath my cake pan.
I love it.
I did. My husband like, now, how come we don't get no? I was like, man, that was way back. I said, no, I don't even do it anymore, but I used to do it all the time. And I used to be so impressed because they used to get bigger and bigger. The more I did it, the better I got at it. It used to get bigger and bigger. Yeah. And now I won't bake nothing.
Well, that's the thing I think about our journeys is that we're gonna shed some things and gain some new things. I'm sure there are things that you do now that you like that your husband just loves and things like that. So
yeah, but I had to stop that because see, you get sick when you get older. You can't. You have to stop with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen, JB, get the bread while you can. Get the bread. I'm telling you, I used to bake. It used to be fun though, because I'm gonna tell you something else, and then I'm gonna let you go. I told him, I said, well, you get me a bigger kitchen, I'll cook more. Call himself, get me a bigger kitchen for a little bit. And I'm like, this cooking thing. As time went on, I'm like, nah, but it all started. It was so funny because I said, you do this, I'll do this. And then I did it. Got a bigger kitchen. He was like, well, babe, what happened? You got the big kitchen, but now I was like, nah, time out for all that. We don't eat that. We don't have big kids at home or none of that. So you do things differently when you get a little older. So anyway, I just wanted to share my little crazy stories. But thank you so much for being here. And I will talk to you soon.
Yes. Thank
and
you.
You are definitely the standard. And I hope somebody's listening.
Absolutely.
Slow. Yeah, I'm watching the rise, and I wouldn't say I'm shocked, cause I'm hardly surprised. This one's for the ride, this one's for who knew I'd make it, just needed some time. This one's for my wife, could've left 1,000 times just so by my side. This one's for the grind, I knew it would happen, just had the strength in my mind. To the videos, they thought I was a black guy. That's hard to get over. I'm foreigner in this world, but I'm fully devoted. I don't take it for granted that the door's been open. I knew I was different, I knew I was chosen. A breadwinner, but I'm soft-spoken. Authentic like a 5950 and there's no cap.